recording. I'm not sharing anything as of now. Can we revise whatever provision we have discussed up until now? So let's go serial wise. Number one, unfurnished accommodation. Can somebody please remind us what was the provision?
So if it is owned by the company, about 25 lakh is 15% of the salary. 10 to 25 lakh is 10% of your salary, and less than 10 lakh is 7.5% of the salary. And if it is leased or rent, it is the amount of rent or lease paid, or it is 15% of the salary, whichever is lower.
And those 25 lakhs, 10 to 25 lakhs and 10 lakhs, you said, what is that?
The population.
Perfect. That is a population. Absolutely awesome. Now let's quickly revise the interest-free loan or concessional rate of interest loans provided by employer to employee.
So as per the interest rate by SBI minus the interest rate provided by employer, multiply by salary.
No, multiplied by, that is incorrect.
Multiplied by loan amount.
Loan amount, absolutely correct. Loan balance, whatever loan amount is given in the question.
Yeah.
Awesome. Then we have movable asset sold by an employer to his employee.
I will go.
Yeah.
So if it is motor car, it's the cost minus 20% of depreciation minus recovery. And for electronic goods, it's 50%. And both of these we are doing by the written down value method.
Perfect.
And for the other assets, it is 10% and in straight line method depreciation calculation. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. And the depreciation, sorry, the completed year only is used. Okay. So that 1 day issue was there in this particular provision, if you remember. Yes.
Yeah.
So we
Right.
only take only completed year for depreciation purpose. Even 1 day less, then we are not going to consider that. Okay.
Correct.
Let's talk about gratuity.
So if it's a government employee, then it's fully exempt. And for a non-government employee, there are two sections. One who is covered by gratuity. So it is 20 lakhs or 15 by 26 into the salary into the number of years completed.
Perfect.
Or it is the actual gratuity received.
Yes.
And if it's not covered by the gratuity, it is 20 lakhs or 1 by 2 into salary into number of years or the actual gratuity received.
What do we do with these three values, as you said, for the respective cases?
We take the least.
Least, and that is taxable.
Yeah.
That is taxable only. No. That is going to be
we'll have to
exempted.
subtract. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, correct.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. You are right. Live-in encashment.
Government employees fully exempted, and for
Yes.
non-government employees, there is a maximum 3 lakhs. One option,
Yes.
3 lakhs is going to get paid, and the next option is 10% of average salary. Is it correct? 10% of average salary.
No, that is 10 into average salary.
Okay, 10 into. Is there any specific reason, like 10? Is it 10 days or what exactly
10
it is?
months.
10
into average
10 months.
monthly salary.
Okay, 10 months. Okay, 10 months into average salary, actual leave encashment or actual leave encashment received.
Whatever is lower.
You left out one, the important one.
Number of
completed
completed years into 30 days, where it credit availed. Like for example, there is a subtraction you had shown to us, right? For example, if there is total number of leaves for that employee at the end of leaving was 200, but if they had given these many leaves have been balance pending, so we have to identify what is the credit availed, means how many leaves he has availed already.
Perfect. Yes.
Okay.
And then?
So I'm not able to recall that calculation, but there is something like salary per day we have to multiply with this credit availed.
So basically, it's the number of completed years multiply by 30 days or if it is less, availed leave balance, whatever is lower, divide by 30 into salary.
Saurav, I had actually changed this calculation. I have simplified this a little bit. Were you there in the last discussion?
Yes, I have seen the video. You have changed that. I don't really remember the formula, but you have changed
please
it,
do.
then
please.
divided it into the available, I think, yeah, total number of days, something like that. I have seen that formula, yeah, last video.
So I would recommend to remember that final one, because
Okay.
this one is like too tricky and you might make a mistake. So that one is very straightforward, and we will avoid making mistakes there. So the formula, anybody else wants to try? What is the new one?
Yeah.
Please.
Yes, Anusha, you go ahead.
No, that's fine. You can go ahead.
Okay, so it's number of completed years into 30, or actual if it is less than that, minus credit availed or leaves availed into salary divided by 30.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. Into salary divided by 30. Instead of saying salary per day, you are saying salary divided by 30. That's also absolutely awesome. So yes, so that is what is the new one. It is updated in the file, Excel file. It is also discussed in the video. Please refer it in case you are getting any doubts. Okay, let's move to commuted pension.
Okay, shall I go?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Under commuted pension, we have like two categories. One is like public sector, which is government employees, and another is like private sector, which is non-government employees. Government employees, 100% exemption in most of the cases, not just in commuted pension, even in leave encashment and any other provisions also, government employees are like 100% exempted. Under non-government employees, we have like two categories. One is like under gratuity law, which when gratuity is received, it is like 1/3 of commuted pension divided by portion commuted.
Perfect.
So, okay, and another is like the non-gratuity law, where we are just replacing 1/3 by 1/2, multiplied by commuted pension divided by portion commuted.
Absolutely correct. Then we have the last but not the least, gift provision.
Okay. Gift
so
provision.
I have a doubt here. So 1/3 we are taking only if a question is having that the employee is covered under gratuity tax.
Perfect. Yes. Yes. Specifically.
Otherwise, we will by default assume that 1/2 wala formula.
You're right. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
For gift,
Yeah, go
like,
ahead.
Yeah, thanks. For gift, like again, like we have a criteria like less than 5,000, it's fully exempted. If the value of that gift worth is like less than 5,000, it can be 499.50, so it is fully exempted. If it is equal to or greater than 5,000, then it is fully taxable.
Perfect. That is absolutely correct. All right. Before I go to the please.
One thing is I want to check. So all these are like deducted from total income, right? Like for example, like let's take an example of non-government employees. If he is like considered under gratuity, so this is like multiplied with the gratuity amount, the 1/3 whatever we are using formula, the amount whatever we are getting, is it like added to the tax thing, or it is added to the, or it's deducted from the total income?
Now answer your question by yourself just by following steps. Okay. So pension, when you talk about it, will you have received any amount in that year? When you are commuting some pension, have you received any amount?
It depends, like when the employee got retired from that organization.
No,
if
you
it
have
is in
commuted the
financial
pension.
year,
No. If you remember commuting concept, that was when you are receiving pension, instead of receiving month by month, you are accumulating a portion of it and receiving a huge amount. The whole concept was that only. So the moment I'm saying commuting pension, by default, that means I have definitely received some amount. Okay. Now that I have received that amount automatically becomes taxable. Yes.
Taxable. got
Now,
it.
whatever amount we are calculating, it is actually exemption amount. So we are going to
Okay.
deduct this amount from that particular value, and the final amount will be taxable. Make sense?
Final amount. Okay.
It will
So
be
let's
taxable.
assume if I have received like 1 lakh rupees
Yeah.
as a pension.
Yeah.
So this lump sum amount means this lump sum amount 1 lakh will be deducted with the exempted value.
Can you repeat the sentence and
Okay.
hear
Let's
yourself?
assume-
Okay, what you're
okay.
saying? Yeah, please.
Okay. I had received 1 lakh commuted pension,
Pension,
which is a
okay.
lump sum amount.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm going to calculate the received gratuity.
Mhm.
If it is under received gratuity,
Mhm.
then 1/3
Mhm.
multiplied by commuted pension means 1 lakh
Mhm.
divided by portion of commuted.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm getting some value. Let's assume I'm getting like 15,000.
Yes.
So 1 lakh minus 15,000. So 85,000 is taxable.
Perfect. That's what we have. Yeah, that's what is the correct logic. Yes. Yes. Perfect.
Exemption. That's what we're doing.
That's what is the exemption. Yes. Yes. That is absolutely correct. Okay. Any other discussion? Any other question? Clarification? Okay. Now, before we go ahead, let me just discuss two very generic and very normal concepts. When you talk about taxation, right? And taxation, you should always have the common idea that tax will be there only if there is a benefit, monetary benefit to the assessee or employee, right? If there is no benefit to him, why would he pay tax? Doesn't make any sense in the first place. So what do I mean by that? Suppose
Non-monetary benefits.
non-monetary benefits. No, that is also included. Though that is not the example here. Okay. Suppose I would say that you know what? I have taken a loan from the bank. I have taken a loan or whatever it is, whatever it is. Suppose personal loan. Let's forget about everything else. I have taken some personal loan from the bank. So I have received some lakhs of amount, 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, whatever. Now, can income tax receive some tax on it? Should I pay some tax for it?
Yes. If I am like, if we are getting it at a benefit, like if the company is providing a lower
No.
rate of
Again,
interest.
I'll repeat that. No. Then I'll repeat the sentence. Please focus. I'm taking a loan from bank, personal loan, not from employer. Okay. I'm taking a loan from bank itself. Now, with the employer, the concept was I was receiving a concessional rate loan. So, in comparison to the market rate, I was receiving less interest rate loan. That's why there was a benefit associated with it. Makes sense, right?
Here there then should not be, because I'm paying interest for the loan, right?
So there is no benefit in the first place. You are
Dheeraj,
absolutely
is there
right.
an employee-employer relationship is there? I don't think so. There is employee-employer relationship between bank
No, there
and
is
that
not.
person, right?
No, there is not. Bank is something different only. Now,
Right.
think about
So,
it.
yeah.
Just simply
But
think
I'm
about it.
borrowing, right? So they are not
Yeah.
giving me the money. I'll have to return it back. Plus, I'll have to give them interest also. So since there's no benefit, I'll not pay. Tax.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And if you are comparing this with the RBI provision that we had earlier, that was for concessional rate. So in that, we were receiving the loan in a concessional rate. That's why there was a benefit associated with it, because of which we were being charged a portion of it as a tax amount. Similarly, what I'm trying to say is, so if there is no benefit, no, there would not be any tax basically. Suppose I go and you know what, I have two accounts, one in SBI, one in suppose SDFC. I transferred some money from SBI to SDFC. Okay, I just made a transaction. I transferred some money from SBI to SDFC. Now, the money that I have received in my SDFC account, should I pay some tax on it? Anybody?
Ideally, no.
Okay.
It was not any income, right? It was my money there also, here also.
Exactly. Think practically now. You must be transferring some amount from this account to that account. Do you pay any tax on that? You don't, right?
No.
Yeah. So
But transactional charges we may pay.
that's not tax. That's
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
That's not tax. When we are talking
Yeah.
about tax, that is, we are specifically talking about income tax, not GST, not VAT, not anything else. Only income tax we are talking about. Okay. So see,
Yeah.
GST you are paying all the places. Even when you are purchasing a simple chocolate, no, you are paying GST. Okay. So that is different. I'm not talking about GST here or any other tax. Only income tax. Now, what is the basic difference between income tax and GST? Forget about that. We are not going there. That will be too such a discussion which is not relevant for our exams. So I'm not going there. But for understanding, if you want to know, I can tell later. Not a problem. So what I'm trying to convey here is that if there is no benefit, there will not be any tax. Always remember, have this in the back of your mind whenever you are reading a question, because there might be some tricky sentence which may make you feel like, you know what, I have seen some kind of provision related to this, but when you think logically, that it would not be actually taxable in the hands of the employee, because there would be no benefit for it. Okay, now that I have said that, let me give you 2-3 seconds in case you have any doubts, please. Okay, now please read this sentence that I'm highlighting here. Loan taken from RPF maintained by employer during the year. Loan taken from RPF maintained by the employer during the year 20,000. What do you think? RPF is what? Recognized Provident Fund. Everybody must be paying some amount to PF, right? So from that PF account, you took out some loan. What do you think? Should you pay any tax? Is this taxable?
It says employer, no, Dheeraj, not employer, right? Maintained,
Employer.
okay, maintained by employer. Maintained by employer. Okay.
Yes. Now think about it. What does that mean, maintained by employer? As I mean, you also must be having a EPF account, right?
Right. So like 12% it is deducted from our salary, plus 12% is contributed by the company.
No, I'm not going there. I'm not going that critical. You're absolutely right. 12% is the correct amount. I mean, correct percentage. What I'm going to ask you is this: who is maintaining that account?
It is maintained by the organization.
Organization as in your employer, isn't it?
Correct.
Whenever you talk about PF, no, it is always maintained by employer only. So
Correct.
they're just trying to play trickery with you. You know, if we mention employer, a student might think that there is a concessional rate involved here. However, if you go to PF and start, try to take a loan from PF, the whole interest will be determined by the PF department. Employer would not be involved in that. So there is no question of concession. There is no question of any benefit to you. You will be paying it back, or it will be deducted from your PF balance. Whatever will be happening, you will be charged for it by the PF department. So there is no benefit associated with it which you are receiving. Any clarifications in that, please? Any doubts?
So if they don't mention employer also, it doesn't make any difference. Still, like
It doesn't make any
loan from.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't make any difference. It will still be the same exact treatment. Now, what will happen to this then? Can somebody please tell? What should we do with it?
Non-taxable.
So we will not include it in our calculation. We'll ignore it basically, and we'll write a note for it saying that there is no benefit received by the employee. That's why it is not taxable in the hands of the employee or Mr. Raj, as the case may be. You can mention the name, not a problem.
And one more thing, Dheeraj, like PF or PPF is like exempted from it's triple E, like exempted from interest, exempted from tax. Means your interest amount is exempted from tax. Whatever PA, like interest we are getting on the PF account, right? PF amount, that is also exempted. Triple E, if I'm not, they say like triple E means exempted, exempted. Like
Yeah.
your interest is also exempted from tax. Your principal amount is also exempted from tax, and your principal plus interest is also exempted from the tax.
No, you are right actually, but there is a slight hiccup there for private companies.
Mhm.
No, private employees working in private company. There is a slight hiccup. There is a certain limit. I'm not going there because I didn't want to drive the discussion towards a provision which is not applicable for us in our course. But there is a slight hiccup. There is some statutory limit associated with it. Okay, if it goes more than that, there will be some part of it which will be taxable. So we can have a separate one-on-one discussion if you want some clarity on that.
Sure.
Not a problem. Okay. Now that we have discussed that, let me go to another very simple, similar kind of discussion. Okay. Now here we are in which head? Income from salary. Now suppose in an income from salary question, one information is given that you have received a dividend on the investments that you have made in some company. You are receiving some dividend. What should you do?
It would be taxable.
Dividend is after tax, right?
Okay, dividend is after tax. You are right. Now let me, how do you say? Dividend is actually after tax, but let's say the dividend is from a private company. Let me just slightly, because you mentioned that fact, I know. So dividend, because it is after tax, so there is some exemptions associated with it. But let me clarify that doubt, saying that this is a private company dividend, so which is actually taxable in the hands of the.
Like, is it like shares given in Amazon? Is it dividend?
Shares given on Amazon is
like Amazon for employees, like Amazon employees, they will be having shares, right, in Amazon.
So
Uber,
that is stock option. That is stock
Yeah.
option. That is taxable in the hands of the employee, but not in the year it is given to the employee, but in the year in which they will sell that share. Did you get my
Correct.
point? So that is again something different only. We're not going to discuss that here. That will be covered. In fact, sir has also discussed this in the class. In the head, can somebody please tell in which head does it come? Capital gains. Okay, capital gains. So we are not discussing that here. Let's forget about that example. I'm focusing on dividend only. So now that I have given you clarity that because the dividend is from the private company, so that is taxable in the hands of the shareholder. Now tell me, in a question from income from salary, will you include it or not?
Income from salary we will not include.
Why is that?
Because there is no employee-employer relationship. No?
Yes, you are right. Anybody else, any other reason, or if you do not agree with it?
You mentioned private company, right? So when private company means there is an employee.
Different company. It is different company, not where you are
not
employed.
In the company you are working. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have invested in some other company. You are receiving some dividend for it. That's all. Nothing else.
Got it.
That is ESOP option if you are having the same companies here.
Yes. So what I'm referring here is the whole concept of income tax is broadly covered under 5 different heads. We know that because our chapters only named accordingly. Okay, income from salary, house property, business profession, capital gains, and other sources. These are the 5 heads. Now they have divided all the incomes that is receivable by any citizen of India into these 5 categories. Now, if you are solving a question of income from salary, and there is an income which will be taxable in the head capital gains or business profession or in other sources, then obviously you will not include it here, isn't it?
So all this stock market, dividend, and profit and gains all comes under capital gain.
No. Let's make one thing. Let's have this discussion now. Now that you are there, let me clarify it. So because it will help us in discussing in those heads also. So in salary, what happens is whatever you receive with relation to salary, no. So when there is an employer-employee relationship and you are receiving from salary, that is included in income from salary. House property is what? Whatever you receive from a rented place. You have a property, you are renting it. Not with the intention of doing a business. That is important. Not with the intention of doing a business. You just have a property, you have made a house, you have just let it out to somebody. Just for the purpose of
So,
renting a house.
rented, leased out, and deemed to be let out.
Perfect. Absolutely correct. So that is what is from house property. Business profession is when you have a business motive. You have a shop, you have a big restaurant, you have a big business, you have a small business. Intention to business is there, and you are earning some money from it. Then all that income will be going to business and profession. Then capital gain is when you are selling an asset. Capital gains is when you are selling an asset. Whatever income you make by selling an asset, that comes under capital gains. Anything other than these comes under other sources. So be it a lottery, be it a interest, be it a dividend, be it a any other type of income. Suppose you are selling some illegal things, that will also come under that. Everything else comes under other sources. So that's how they divide the whole income into 5 different categories. So coming back to our original discussion, okay, again, we will discuss in detail with every head whenever we are discussing. But I just wanted to give a brief.
Okay,
so
we did not cover this agriculture wala. That will come under which head?
Agriculture income actually is exempt. You know that, right?
Okay, so that will
Fully.
not come anywhere.
Fully
Whatever the agricultural land or something we are using for commercial purpose, that will come under business head.
Business
right?
profession. Yes, business profession. But agriculture income is exempt in the first place. So there is no question of going into any head. So story is ending there. Now, any
Dheeraj,
other?
can you please repeat the 5 heads once more?
So those are, one is salary, one is house property, one is business and profession, one is capital gains, and the last one is other sources.
Other. Okay.
Other sources.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the logic that I wanted to discuss is, if in a question from income from salary, they have given an item which is to be taxable in the head of other sources, you're not going to include it in your question, in your answer, right? Makes sense? Because you have to calculate taxable salary. You're not calculating other heads. Yes, everybody agrees to it?
Yes.
Now, similarly, if there is a question about capital gains and they have given information about salary of the employee, then you will also not include it in that particular question. So if there is a specific head related question, and the question is asking only for taxable salary, taxable capital gain, taxable income from profit and gains from business and profession. So in those cases, you are not going to include the income from any other particular source of income. So having that said, let me show you one of the lines. Can you please read this? His colleagues, so employees' colleagues, also gifted him a television worth 50,000 from their own contribution. So colleagues are from office only, okay? Office colleagues are gifting him something. Do you think it should be part of his income from salary, or should it go to any other head?
No.
Other income only.
It is other income. And why is that?
Because again,
No employer-employee
colleagues are gifting, not employer is gifting.
Absolutely correct. So between colleagues and him, there is no employer-employee relationship. They're just friends, isn't it? So that's why you are not going to include it in your answer for income from salary, taxable salary.
But if it is gifted by employer,
yes,
then it will become part of salary.
Absolutely. Saurabh, now that you have said, I was actually going to raise this. Can you please repeat the provision for gift?
Gift, if it is less than 5,000, fully exempted. If it is more than 5,000, fully taxable.
Just one small change, more than or equal to 5,000. Okay.
More than equal to 5,000.
Perfect. Awesome. Now that we have discussed this, any quick questions, any doubts?
So 5,000 is also fully exempted.
Fully taxable.
Fully taxable.
Yes.
Pretty taxable.
Yes. Absolutely correct. Absolutely.
Dhiraj,
Please.
the thing is like, see all those amount, whichever is like under like cashing into salary slip,
Yeah.
it is taxable. We all know that.
Yes. Yes.
If the amount, even I had asked the same question to sir, the amount which is not shown in the salary slip, but it is coming in between of any like maybe in the month, like maybe it coming after 10 days or 15 days, whenever we are trying to claim the bills, like receipts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those amount is like fully like credited to the account. It is not taxable. So this amount is like tagged under which head?
The reimbursement.
So reimbursement only you are focusing on, right? That's a very good question. I was actually coming to that. I wanted to ask one question to all of you. Now that you have raised it, before I go there, let me just quickly bring up one more discussion. Then I'll go there. Okay. One more thing.
Sure.
But is it not, we are, when it comes to reimbursement, it is, we are not getting any income out of that, right? It is something which we had to spend and we are getting the amount for that, it's expenditure. It's not an income basically.
That is awesome. You are absolutely right. I was about to tell the same thing. You have already told. Sami, did you get it?
There's a catch here. I'll tell you simple. What the Saurabh said is absolutely right. Legally, let's assume like you know everyone knows like most of the like receipts are not genuine. Like if you take an LTA or whatever it may be.
No, Sami,
let's assume.
Sami, I'll stop you
Hey,
there. Sami, I'll stop you there. I'll tell you something. Okay, whatever we are reading now, that is just on paper. Reality is something else. Everybody knows that.
Correct.
We are not going to discuss about that. We are not going to consider that, because if you do that, then I mean everything has to be changed.
Correct. No,
So everything that we are discussing now is just on paper. Might not be the reality.
Correct.
There might be something else happening in between things. That's all right. We're not going to go
exemption is fine. No, exemption is fine. What about joining bonus? Joining bonus is also not disclosed in the salary slip.
Who said?
Joining bonus is taxable, man.
No, joining bonus is included in the salaries. What are you talking?
Sometimes
by
we
mistake.
don't.
It's by mistake.
No, even if it is not included, that is also taxable because that will be reflecting in your 26 AS.
Yes, absolutely correct.
No,
your 16
the thing is,
form
what
16
happens,
will definitely have it.
Correct. Sometimes what happens, like buyout will be there, right? Buyout option from one organization to the another organization. In that case, the employee is not getting any amount paid, but he is getting the employer is the current employer is going to pay to the previous employer.
In that case, it's a kind of again reimbursement. You are not getting that part, right? You are not getting benefit out of that. There is no income for you.
One second, Sami, one second. That's absolutely amazing example actually. But let me start from there here. Okay, let me ask you this. You are working in a company, you got offer from another company, you denied it, they approached you, said, you know what, we will pay you this much of money right away if you accept our offer. You accepted it. On that day itself, they paid you some amount. Which head does it come into?
It is other source of income, right? Because they are crediting into my bank account.
Why is that?
It's
everything gets credited to your bank account. That is not the
correct.
reason.
There is
why does it not? No, let me ask you this.
Because you are not yet employed.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Absolutely.
That's why
so there is no
to be employed.
So there is no employer-employee relationship as of now. That's why it is covered under the other sources side. That's why it will not reflect in your form 16. It will not reflect in your what do you call it? Salary slip or pay slip. You will be responsible to show it in your income tax return. As a good citizen, you have the responsibility of showing that in your income and paying tax on it. Okay. Now let's not deviate from our discussions, because if you start discussing, there are so many things. But let's be focused because we have exam in 3 days. Now let me ask you. Let me say one more thing, and then I'll ask another point. Why do I ask? Because I think Saurav has already answered nicely that thing. So one thing that I wanted to say was, let's talk about what do you call it? I immediately forgot the thing that I wanted to talk about. Okay, no problem. So reimbursement thing, everybody understood, right? Reimbursements are not taxable because there is no benefit associated with it. Again, another example of where there is no benefit, we are not going to be taxed. Employee is not going to be taxed. Any quick questions, any doubts on that? So the conclusion of the whole discussion is, when you see a line like this and you determine that this is actually belonging to another head, you're not going to include in your income from salary calculation. Any doubts?
Okay, let me put another thing here. I'm
Yeah.
also not confirmed.
Please.
So let's say